Hi everybody, this is John Stowell. Mike Eller had suggested it would be helpful to some of you to see me walk through some ideas of standards, how to interpret standards, maybe ways to make them feel fresh and interesting even if you've been playing them for a long time and have them in your repertoire. So this time around we can address some of the harmonic concepts a little bit more fully and also talk about some ways to maybe change the meter of a familiar tune to give you kind of a fresh interpretation. I found very often just by taking something that you would normally play in 4 and playing it as a waltz, for example, or taking a swing tune and playing it as a bossa nova, playing a ballad fast, playing a fast tune slowly. All these different ways to kind of reimagine something that feels familiar, maybe even a bit stale. You can kind of reimagine and really make it fun. 4, 5, 6, 7. So this notion of taking a change which is not normally dominant and making it dominant, I do all the time. So let's illustrate that on, what could be a tune, for example? Oh, Prelude to a Kiss is already there. A tune other than Green Dolphin. Well, let's take, for example, All the Things You Are. Normally that would be 6, 2, 5, 1, 4. I could make almost all of those chords dominant. F7. E flat 7, A flat major, A flat 7, to my D flat. Basically, anytime you're moving up in fourths, which is what the opening cadence of All the Things You Are is, 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, which occurs in hundreds of other standards as well, this very common cadence of using a cycle of fourths. If I'm moving up in fourths, even if a dominant chord is not written in and the tempo allows me to do it, I'll either insert a dominant chord in between the minor chords, or I'll simply take a minor chord and turn it into a dominant chord. So I could go, if the tempo is slow enough, F minor, F7, D flat minor, D flat 7, A flat major, A flat 7. I could do the same thing. So if I were playing a tune and I wanted to use a C7, I might potentially play that chord. There it is in the context of a 2-5-1 resolving to F, G minor, C sharp minor major 9, S, C7. And I very often use the chord shape. If you don't know these other shapes, they're all C sharp minor major chords as C7. So we're using melodic minor ideas, chord scales, arpeggios, a half step above a dominant chord to introduce tensions, and then using that in the context of either an implied 5 or an actual 2-5-1. Now we can take the same approach of a key center, namely melodic minor chord scales and arpeggios, in 3 other keys to correspond to the 3 other modes. So your job actually is not as complex as you might think, because once you begin to acquire a melodic minor vocabulary, chord scales, arpeggios, you then essentially are mixing those in the different keys with the original dominant arpeggio that they are all built upon.